Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are basically going to create the testimonials activity. So in order to create a testimonials activity, what we are going to do is that we are going to go to this Java folder, go to this one right here and select a new activity. And also it is always better to have like a scroll view or the scrolling activity for your testimonials. So, and the reason for that is there could be multiple testimonials which needs to be added to it. So in this case we are going to go with the scrolling activity and let's name it as test. So let's say it is a short form for testimonials, then finally click finish and your activity is going to load up for you, which is going to be a scrolling activity. And now the only thing which we need to do here in the scrolling activity is that we need to add in a linear layout, assign a vertical orientation to it, and finally add in the items which we want to actually display in the testimonials. So if we go into this layout folder right here, as you could see, this thing right here is basically used in order to change the color of this thing. So what we are going to do here is that we are basically going to change the color to this background color right here. So let's first get the color. So basically we want this color right here. So let's go to some activity from which we could get the color. So this is the color right here, so we are going to copy it. We are going to return back to the test activity and let's go to design. Let's select this, go to background, and let's simply paste it over here. So this is basically going to change the color of this thing. Now once it is done, the next thing which we need to do is that we actually need to remove this thing which is nothing but the text view, and instead of this we want to add in a few testimonials over here. So in order to do that, what we do is that we go to the content underscore test.xml, and if we have a look at here is our text view right here. So we are going to basically delete this text view, and instead of this text view we are going to add a linear layout over here. So we type linear layout, and the layout width of this is going to be fill parent, and the height is basically going to be equal to wrap content, and the orientation is going to be vertical. So we type Android orientation equals vertical. So once we have the linear layout, we could go ahead and we could basically add in the testimonials. But even before adding a testimonial, what we want to do is that we again create a linear layout within a linear layout, so as to basically create a text view and an image view into it. So basically we copy this linear layout and we are going to paste it inside this thing, and inside it basically we are going to add in the image view as well as the text view. So if we switch back here, as you could see, this is a linear layout within a linear layout. So basically in order to add something to this linear layout, we go ahead and drag a image view and let's drop it right inside it, and also let's go ahead and add a text view to it. So let's say this is a plain text view and we add it right over here. So now once we have these two things added, so if we switch to this view right here, as you could see, we have this thing created. Now the only thing which we need to do is that we actually need to add in an image and the text over here. So what I'm going to do here is that I have my image right over here, and I'm going to edit this image, and I'm basically going to save this thing as a PNG image. So I'm opening this up in a paint and I'm going to save this image as a PNG image so as to convert it into PNG. So let's say I'm giving testimonial to my own properties. So the final thing which we do is that we check if the image is of PNG type, and once we have confirmed, we simply copy this image, return back to Android Studio, go to the drawable folder and simply paste this image right over here, click OK. Make sure that you have the format as PNG. Now we are going to add in this image to this image view right here. So I go here and I type Android background, add drawable. I am going to give it my name, and as you could see, the image has been added, but the thing is that the image is too big for the screen. So let's now go ahead and set the size of the image view. So let's say the layout width is going to be 75 dps, and let's say the height is going to be 75 dps as well. So as you could see, now we basically have the image view and the text is appearing at the bottom. Now what we want to do is that we want to make this text appear on the right hand side of this. So instead of the orientation of the inner layout to be vertical, we are going to make it horizontal. So this thing basically aligns this text view to the right. Now the next thing which we do is that we basically want to add a margin to the layout. So we type Android layout margin and we add a margin of, let's say, 5 dps to each side. So as you could see, now it is aligned in a much more proper fashion. And now we are also going to add the same layout margin to this thing right here. So once we have the margins added, now the next thing which we do is that we also add in the margin to this thing. So basically we want to leave a space from all the sides. So we go to text view and we also add a margin right over here. So we type Android layout margin and let's say 5 dps. So as you could see, now we have sufficient margin, and here we are going to specify the text which we want to display. So let's say this says excellent properties at excellent price. So as you could see, this is one testimonial, and what we need to do is that we need to add in multiple testimonials. So in order to make it happen, what we could do is that we could simply copy this linear layout and we could paste it multiple number of times. So we simply copy this thing, go right below here and paste it. So as you could see, now we have the second testimonial. So let's go ahead and add in a few more testimonials over here, and it appears to be fake. That is because a single person is posting multiple testimonials. So what you could do is that later on you could modify this image to your friend's image and you could simply tweak the text of this thing right here. And even before copying and pasting these things, what you could do is that first you could design a single text view in a proper fashion, and then later on you could actually modify it. So that is a much more better way of doing it. So, and the reason why I'm doing this is that we need to actually make a few changes over here. So let's say instead of having this thing, we have multiple sentences over here. So we simply give a dot and paste it multiple number of times so that it looks like a proper testimonial. And now once everything is done, the next thing which we do is that we basically try to change the layout of this thing. Let's say we have hash 0000 and 00. So as you could see, now the complete background is black, and what we are going to do is that we are going to change the text color to white so that this text is actually visible. So we go inside the text view and we are going to set the color of text equal to white. So we type Android text color equals hash FFFFFF, and also let's go ahead and increase a size a little bit. So we type Android text size equals, let's say, 15 sp. Okay, now once it is done, we are good to go. Now the only thing which we need to do here is that we actually need to copy this thing multiple number of times so that multiple things or multiple testimonials could actually appear over here. So I'm going to just copy the same thing multiple number of times, and this is basically going to get added to the scroll view. So you could basically scroll it as many number of times as you want. And also, as we have mentioned the same IDs to the image, what we could do is that we could simply change the IDs, or we could also completely delete the IDs of the text view, sorry, the image view. So we simply delete the IDs of each and every text view so that we could get rid of the errors which we have in our application. So I'm going to delete the IDs from each and every text view. And if you don't want to delete it, make sure that you name these things as different. So if you name it the same thing, it is going to cause an error. So once we have deleted the IDs from the text view, we are good to go. Now the only thing which we need to do is that we need to save our application and run our application on the emulator or on our device. So it is always better if you run our application on the device. So basically, even before running this application on our device, the last thing which we need to do here is that we actually need to add in this activity to the navigation activity. So if we switch back to the navigation activity, so in here we create an intent. So I'm going to copy this intent and I'm going to paste this one into the testimonials, and instead of this contact us dot class, we are going to replace it by test dot class. So what this thing is going to do is that it is basically going to start a new activity which is nothing but the test activity when we select the option which is called as testimonials. So that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you guys understood how to basically create the testimonials activity for your Android application. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.